Hi guys, welcome to my interaction workflow of 3D Max to Unity. So you can find 3D Max at autodesk.co.nz and Unity at unity.com. Both are free for students and Unity is free for personal use. So this is with regarding to our assignment. As a 6-year-old kid, I remember having a sedan-ish car that was red in color, and so this is what we would be modeling today. This is a generic image I found from Google. So these are the concepts that we would go through. A quick introduction of the editor layout, modeling, texturing, and exporting it to Unity, using that in Unity for interaction. Cool. Let's begin. Let's start by opening up 3ds Max. So this is the very first time the software is booted up in this machine. So on the top you have the toolbar, which has the tools for selection, rotation, scaling, snapping to edges, reflection, mirror, rendering, all the stuff. On the left you have hierarchy, and on the right you can create and modify elements that you make in the scene. And the middle 4 sections, they are the perspective or the viewing angles. So let's start by creating a cube or a box, as most projects are started this way. So let's open up that window so that we can see the cube more clearly, aligning it to the center, and then we would give a uniform size so that it's a cube. The next step would be to convert this object into an editable polygon. So you right click on the object and you convert to editable polygon. And in this way you can edit all the edges, the vertices, and everything of the polygon that you have here. What I'm going to do is to click on the edge and select all 4 edges. Once we select all the 4 edges, we can click connect and it will create a connecting plane within the 4 edges. So now we click the connecting plane so that the cube is made into segments, and we can extrude these 2 faces out of it. So this is the front and the rear of the car. And adjust the top part of it. And yeah, just basic adjustments. What I'm doing here is extruding a little bit more in the front, because the front of the car usually tends to be squarish and the rear of the car is a bit slanted. So it's almost taking shape. Next thing we would want to do is to mirror one side of the car, one half of the car, so that we only have to design one side and it will reflect the other side. So flip it by y-axis, and then so you can see that when I move the mirror to one side, the other part moves with it. What we are going to try here is to make a wheel hub, or a space for the wheel to go in. So this looks like an okay dimension for a car. And let's click on chamfer, and it would create something like this. It will just generate the points around. You can see that it's reflected on the other side. What here I'm doing is creating a cut or creating an edge. So we are creating these points of interest so that we can say essentially put them into different faces or sides. We'll get individual sides. So the same thing that when we do it on one side, since we have the symmetry on, it will reflect on the other side. So if you move them up like that, it's reflecting on the other side as well. And so it kind of looks like a wheel space. Let's delete these points so that when we go out from our wireframe, it looks like a car. And when we click on the symmetry, so the basic skeleton of the car is ready. That's for a bumper. And, let's draw a headlight. Actually, we are mirroring this side, so we can draw the headlight on this side, and it will reflect on the left side. Let's draw a similar one on the rear of the car as well, and a bumper for the back. Let's extrude it out so that it looks like light, and the rear kind of, yeah, it was accidental, but let's make a light out of it. And when we mirror it, we could see that the light is indeed there. So to make a window, first let's click insert, and it will create a polygon inside it, the same dimensions or similar dimensions, and then we extrude it inside so that to give that window feel to it. So next we are going to make a wheel or a Fender flare, as we call it. So let's click insert on these many panels and extrude out the excess area that comes out. That's a wheel art. Repeat on the front as well. Insert to make a small polygon, and then extrude the remaining that's outside. And the same applies for the windshield and the rear windshield as well. Next, let's move on to making the wheels. So let's start off by making a cylinder that fits in the hub space. So you can use these views as a guide to orient the objects that you place in the scene. Similar things, make the object into an editable poly. Select the face that stands out. Make another one that looks like the outer side is a tire and the inner side is a wheel. And let's bevel it out. That is, it will look like a cone, or like this. So it looks like a wheel now. And there are filters or things that you can apply, like this is a smoothing filter. So it will just create more polygon counts and look smooth. Let's rename the first object that we made to car. Extrude the bumper out. So all I'm doing here is clicking insert and then extruding it out. So let's clone the wheel, making a reference to it so that once we apply, say, material to an object, it will reflect in all its references. That's why we clicked reference. And since we don't have wheels on the other side, we have to replicate them there as well. So select them and clone again, same as a reference, and then move them to the other side and flip them 180 degrees. We have 4 wheels. So I think this is the basic modeling. This is a very low poly model which conveys the concept. That can be done in 10 minutes. As you go more detail into the system, you can create more polygons and more fidelity to the model that you make. Now let's move on to texturing. So if you press M at any point, it will create this, bring up this material editor. So here I'm selecting car paint material that you can just search, and then right click on the top of the material and apply to the selected object. Will apply the material to the selected object in the scene. So now what we're doing is we're selecting that face of the polygon and applying the white color to that, so it looks like a light. So when you look at the model, it looks like the car has 2 lights now. Similarly, we'll apply silverish color for the windshield and the windows, and a black color for the wheels. So select the face that you would want to change to the color and click on apply to this. For the light, I think the light should be red in the back. So what we can do is maybe we can apply a black cladding behind it. Apply the same to the wheels and you have the car ready. So if you click on the render, it will show the rendering. Here we don't have a background, so let's make a plane. We can use it as a road. And let's save the progress so far. And I wanted to show you this one where you can add a background or an image as a bitmap as a texture on the object that you create. So let's go and find a free texture. Let's just use this one. So let's create a new material, and in the material, in the base color, you can link it to a bitmap. So that's the base there. And if we go to the base parameters on the right. You have to find bitmap all the way down to the bitmap and select the image file and hook it to the base color. Apply to the object, and there you have the road surface as rendered. So I think this shows how quickly we can make up a 3D model in 3ds Max. Next thing that we will look at is to export it as a 3D object so that we can use in other programming softwares like Unity or Unreal Engine. So if you go to File and you have the Export option, there's a couple of file formats to choose from. We'll stick to FBX, save, and click OK. We can find the exported file and look into importing it to Unity. So the next step would be to open up Unity and click on a project or create a new project. Once the project loads up, you can just drag the FBX file into the editor and we are done. I'm just creating a folder for the model. Let's drag the model into the editor and put it into the scene, and you can see here that the model that we just now created in 3ds Max is ready to use in Unity. Now, why we need this in Unity is Unity is a platform where we can play with different things, like you can add interactions, stuff like that, to the game objects that you create or the 3D objects that you create. I'll show you an example. So I'll just quickly go Google WASD arrow movement and copy the first code that I see and click on the game object, create a new script and paste the code. It's very simple. For each of the key presses, it will just move the model it is attached to. And with a couple of lines of code, now we have a simple game. We can click play and press WASD and your car will start moving in space. So that's how easy you can make a game. This is a scene view, this is a game view. And then you can see that when I press WASD, I have the car that moves. And that's it. Thanks, guys.